Long way, get this shit a long way, get this shit a long way, long way, hit it long way, 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 shit, long way, long shit, long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, shit a long way. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long finish rich, yeah. Gotta get the shit a long way, gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, but she don't understand. She be trippin' every day, she be trippin' every way, but I gotta get this shit a long way, yeah. Tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, yeah. Get money every single way and every day. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. I'm feeling like we be the new slaves, yeah. No, we gotta finish rich, no, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand, she don't understand, niggas gotta get rich. She don't understand, sometimes we gotta hit lit, no, we ain't hit lit. Tryna get the long way, yeah. Tryna get the shit the long way, yeah. Coach is tryna wrap up a entree, yeah. Told you the other day that did my phone strong. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Yeah, I get the shit the long way. My bitch be trippin' back and forth like a phone way. My name is Tari, I ain't playing games, just another Tari. Yesterday she told me that she about to leave, man. I said fuck it, bitch, we gonna get some money. I said fuck it, bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I went to get some money, yeah. Cause we gon' get this shit the long way, we gon' get shit the long way, yeah. Back and forth like the pong way, yeah. Man, I'ma get this shit the long way, get this shit the long way. Just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy. You gotta wear an ass, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day. We be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, for yeah. So we gon' get this shit the long way, 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 yeah, we get this shit the long way, yeah, cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, yeah, we gon' get the long way, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another edition of Savings Minus Debt. I'm LJ Young, the founder of SMD. If you're new to the channel, what's up, Dennis? And you're probably thinking, well, what do you do? I help you own yourself. I help you own you. How do I do that? By sharing my gift with you. My gift is that I understand that capitalism is psychological. I now understand that, and I know I'm right because math says I'm right, and if math says I'm right, that means I'm right. Okay, that's really that's the best way I can even explain that, right? And I only know this because I got out of debt, which got me to zero, which meant at zero I own myself. Okay, now I didn't know that as I was getting out of debt. First, I had to realize I was in debt to start getting out of debt, right? That's a whole task within itself, right? And now I own myself. Long story short, I now understand that capitalism is psychological. That's crystal clear. Everything is crystal clear, okay? Now, with this knowledge, the title of this, debt slaves are the housing market, okay? With this knowledge of understanding capitalism is psychological, I understand that debt slaves are the currency. It's you guys. You guys are the currency. You. No physical, not even physical gold, silver, platinum, whatever, diamonds, whatever it is. Hey, it doesn't really matter because you are the currency. But debt slaves, you don't know that. Now, I'm only saying this to you because I was once a debt slave, but now I'm not because I own myself and I have the proof to show it. I will do something unlike anybody on YouTube. I will show you my entire personal credit report. Me. That proves that I own myself. That proves that I understand that capitalism is psychological. With that knowledge, knowing that you guys are the currency, you, the housing market could not exist without debt slaves. They have to be debt slaves. You guys have to be there. Mortgages don't buy houses. Mortgages buy you, debt slaves. That's how that works. Mortgages buy you. Not the what? Not that has nothing to do with the house. The house is nothing without you, debt slaves. Therefore, without you, the housing market wouldn't exist. So, as you guys just grab all your crazy knowledge from every podcaster out there, just just telling you what you think the market's going to do and why are the housing market doing that? That's for you guys, debt slaves. That information is not for people that know. People that know understand that you guys are the currency. It's you. So let me give you an example. Here, let me give you an example. Now, now, in the background, I just kind of listen to what you guys, and we're gonna stick with the housing market because you guys have no idea what to do. You guys are just running around like with chickens with your head cut off. You don't know what to do. I got to get the piece of the American dream. You have no idea, but you guys are the currency. You can't buy nothing. You have no money. You have to go to the bank to get anything you're thinking of even close to a house. You have to ask the bank for permission. That means they own all the houses. Even the one with people in them. If they got mortgages, the bank owns those too. It doesn't matter what the people inside of them think. All that matters is what it says on paper. Who owns that house? The bank. Okay. I'm not hating on the bank. I'm just sharing something with you guys that are mathematical facts. Now you hear companies like BlackRock and companies like, hey, those guys are going around buying up all the houses, and you guys are panicking. Oh my God, why are they what's that have to do with you? They have money and you don't. It doesn't matter what you think because you have no money to buy anything. So who do you think they're buying houses from? The bank. Now, do you believe that they're buying up the houses? They want to start becoming a mortgage company of themselves? Just, hey, we're going to buy some houses and we're going to do like the bank. We're going to give out mortgages. No, the bank has unlimited funds. Companies like BlackRock and companies like them, they don't have unlimited funds. They have a lot of money, but it's not unlimited like the bank. So no, they're not getting into that. They're probably buying them up to rent them out. All you need to understand is this: they're buying them for a reason, okay? They're not just buying them to leave them empty. They're gonna fill them with you, debt slaves, renting. So I'm assuming now this is all assumption, okay? I don't know anything. I'm not special in any way, but if they're preparing a whole bunch of renters, if they're buying up a whole bunch of houses for rent, that means I'm assuming that mortgage interest rates are about to shoot to an unbelievable high to where you guys can't borrow nothing. You can't borrow no money for no mortgage. Guess what you'll be doing? Renting. You have to live somewhere. Okay. You can't live on the streets. Now, as debt slaves, most of you guys will accept that fact and say, "Oh, okay, I can't afford that mortgage anymore. I have to rent. I have no choice," right? But most of you guys will go rent and still tell your family and friends that you're buying. Now that part, I don't really care about what you guys do because imagine if you were a property owner and you had a renter in there and they were paying the rent on time like they are supposed to, but you found out they're telling everybody in town that they own that house. Would you care? I wouldn't care. As long as they're making the rent payments on time, who cares? The bank is the same way. So when you guys panic about taxes, if debt slaves, if you didn't have a mortgage, listen, if you didn't have a mortgage, taxes wouldn't be high. Do you understand? Because when you say like when you have a mortgage And then you talk about how high the taxes are in this particular city. You know why they're high? Is because you have a mortgage. That's why it seems high. But if you didn't have a mortgage, if you really understood that a mortgage don't buy if you understood that mortgages do not buy houses, you would understand that the only way to buy a house is in cash. That is the only way. There is no other way. To buy a house has nothing to do with your credit score. It has nothing to do with what your credit score is or how good you pay your bills back or nothing like that. Has nothing to do with buying a house because you just walk up and say, "How much is that house? 300,000. Okay, here you go. Here's the money." There's no credit score checking. What do you mean? Here's the cash. Because that's the only way to buy a house. That's the only way. But millions of people, debt slaves, believe you guys own houses with mortgages, and it's trillions of dollars of it. Of course, the housing market couldn't exist without you debt slaves. Of course. I get it, totally understand it, totally respect it, don't care. It is what it is. And these big companies that are making trillions of dollars, they're not hiding anything from you. Don't think they're this big, bad, and evil guys that have this secret fucking club. No, they just trust math and you don't. That's it. And it's a collective of them. That's it. They all understand that it works this way. Money works with money and math are one. There is no separating them. You can only separate math from money psychologically. That's the only way you can separate math from money. Psychologically. Not math not mathematically, psychologically. And you're probably puzzled here just listening to me. Let me give you an example, okay? For you homeowners with mortgages, okay? Open up your calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, and then hit equal. Now, there's a large negative number on your calculator looking at you right in the face. But if you still believe you're a homeowner, even though the calculator is showing you a very large negative number, that's a psychological problem. Do you understand? Because we both know the calculator's not wrong. I believe the large negative number that the calculator is showing you. You don't. That's why you believe you have equity in a house that you did not have the money to buy. That's why you believe that, because that's the psychological problem. Now, don't feel bad because there are millions of people that think exactly the way you think or else the housing market would not exist. So when you see it start shifting and doing things, those are deals between the banks and the big people with money and the big funds with the secret rooms and all that shit you guys believe in movies. It's just a whole bunch of people that understand that capitalism is psychological. Debt slaves, you guys don't. You don't know that you cannot own property with no money of your own. You don't know that. You add up in your net worth, debt slaves, you add up the net worth of bank owned properties in your net worth in in their bank owned. Nothing wrong with it. That's called business. I mean, but you get to choose of which side you want to be on. You can just stay on that side in the debt matrix with all the other debt slaves, or you can come on under the other side with the people that understand. Nobody's here to stop you or prevent you from being. You obviously see there's plenty of room. When you see a person or a company making trillions of dollars, isn't that obvious that there's plenty of room? All you have to do is step number 1, if you ever wanna ever understand and truly understand that capitalism is psychological, first you have to own yourself, the business of you. That's step number 1, which, by the way, is the hardest part, really. It really is hard because you have to know amongst the millions of people that don't know around you every single fucking day. Just telling you dumb shit about your credit reports and You own property with mortgages, and hey, you got appreciation and equity, all in properties that you don't even own. It's just bananas to even look at it today. It's like, what? I didn't see that. And then what what the crazy part about is this, when you see all this stuff, the crazy part about it is when you own yourself, guess what you realize? At that moment, you realize your time here on earth is limited. It is the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing ever. But at that moment, you realize that, wait a minute, I'm only here on earth for a limited time. You start driving by graveyards, down the street, you kind of look at graveyard with headstones and stuff like that. Now you look at it and say, wait a minute, those people were here before me. And most of those people been gone for a long time before I even got here. Of course, my time here is limited. Now you never forget that ever. That never forgets. When I was a debt slave, every now and then I would run into, I would call a person an a-hole for because they were really assholes about their time, right? I was just like, why is that prick acting like that? Once you understand this, that's now I understand those people. All of us had that friend, hey, we're going to all meet somewhere. And that one friend always shows up 15, 20 minutes late. Those are no longer your friends because you no longer tolerate stuff like that because you understand that capitalism is psychological and I'm here temporarily. Once you get here, you're going to eventually find out now you have to create something of value. Now you're going to have to create something of value because there's to get here, there's certain steps you must follow. You can't just come here. You can't scam your way. Let me just put it this way. You can't scam your way here. You can't lie, cheat, steal people's money, trick them, tell them lies about money, especially money and investing and all. You can't come here with that. That's obvious to see because people that do that, they do that for money. People that financially steal from you are obviously people that are doing it for money. That means their priorities are wrong because in this on this side of thing, time is number one, money's number two. If in your life money is number one and time is number two, I'm here to tell you that you're doing it wrong. You'll never understand capitalism. Capitalism is psychological. With those two in the wrong order, sorry, you'll never get here ever. You'll never understand a word that I'm saying ever. Because what you guys don't understand is this: the content that I create. Listen, I want you guys to listen closely too. The content I create will withstand the hands of time. It won't matter what year a person listens to this. It won't matter. It will still apply. It will still apply 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 200 years from now. It'll still apply as long as the USA is capitalist. After I'm dead, hey, it is the way it is. I was born into this. Not everybody gets to understand this. I can promise you that. Now, if you're one of the debt slaves right now, freaking out, worrying about the economy, are you going to be able to get a house or not? You got to take a deep breath, take a deep breath, take a step back, and say, "Who is telling me this information? Who's telling me that? Who's saying I must buy or sell my house or whatever?" You got to say, "Who is telling me that?" 9 times out of 10, you're talking to a debt slave. A debt slave is telling you their fears of whatever they're fearing about money and debt. It could be totally different than yours, but hey, if it's fear to them, they're gonna think it's everybody or something, and then they share it with you. And then if you believe them, if you believe the financial information that you receive from a debt slave, that's your problem. You know how many debt slaves are out there giving you guys financial advice with student loan debt older than their business? Are you crazy? If you go see a tax, if you pay, let me tell you something. If you're paying for a professional tax person or a professional accountant, and you find out they have student loans older than their business, you better fire them ASAP. ASAP. You're paying for information from a debt slave, a professional debt slave too, at that, a professional one. Telling you that you can invest in your retirement and 401ks, all while having a mortgage and student loan debt. Are you crazy? You can't do any of that. That's a debt slave, and you're paying for that professional debt slave information. You can't do that. So when it comes to the housing market, which is you guys are, listen, you guys are the housing market. Do you understand? Without you, it doesn't exist. But you don't know that. That's the psychological part. I'm cool with that. Hey, whatever. I was in it. Hey, you guys got to do what you guys have to do to get out of it. I'm just here to help the people that want to get out, but it's designed for the majority of you guys to stay in. That's how it works. You guys, the majority must stay in there and not know it forever. Like, let me tell you something. Okay, let me explain something to you. Like, for example, when you're a debt slave, you don't think it's really a big deal to, like, when you break laws, you get penalized, parking tickets, speeding tickets, all this other, and then you might do more, felony type crimes, and then you might get some jail time and a penalty. First of all, when you own yourself and you break a law that could possibly take the time away in your life, that should be a red flag in your head that that particular law is there for a reason. Why do you think that? Because it's going to take the most valuable commodity on earth, which is the time in your life. So there's something that you need to know about that. But when it comes with penalties, all that stuff stacks up. That's on you. That never goes away until you pay. That's like student loan debt, tax debt. You have to pay that back. You have to go get a job. You have to work, and that's the only way you're gonna be able to pay that back. But most of you, when you're a debt slave, you don't really think that's a big deal to be in that much debt. You think, oh, hey, everybody has debt. No, they don't. Only debt slaves have debt. And when you're deep in debt like that, guess what? You can never own a house ever. You can't buy a house with student loan debt and penalties and tax behind on taxes. And you think you can buy a house? You can't. But that's when it comes in with the invention of subprime mortgages for people that don't know that they really can't buy a house with mortgages. That's why they're designed for people like you. If I went to a bank and they pulled out a subprime mortgage for say, hey, we got this mortgage offer, I look at it and it's a subprime mortgage, I would just get up and walk out. I wouldn't say nothing. I wouldn't explain anything. I would just leave. Because they obviously got me mixed up with a debt slave. Obviously. They didn't see my credit report or something. I don't know. Like here, let me give you an example. If I went to go to a bank to get a mortgage and they ran my credit report at age 52, they would know immediately that nobody owns me. They would know that I own myself. They would know that I know that capitalism is psychological because they could see it on my credit report. How many 52-year-olds you think in the United States of America own themselves? How many you think? Not many. Just so you know, I'm one of them, and I can prove it. How? Show you my credit report. Not my credit score, my credit report. That says I own me, and I understand that capitalism is psychological. That's what it says. This is what this I'm gonna give you guys some advice when those of you guys that are panicking over the housing market stuff, high prices and all this stuff being priced out and won't get it and whatever, right? When you start feeling like that, this is all I want you to do, okay? Look for the house price range that you think you can handle, right? Just look at it and say, okay, the house I want is going to cost about 350 to $400,000. Okay. And then you log into your bank account and see if you have $400,000 in your bank account. If you don't have $400,000 in your bank account, don't worry about what the housing market is doing because that's none of your business. The next time you see, hey man, car prices are on the rise and da da da, you say same thing applies. You go, okay, what's the price range of the car that I want, that I feel that I want that fits me, or whatever you're thinking in your brain, whatever, right? And it comes up to $60,000. Okay. You're like, okay, that's the one I want. It costs $60,000. Log into your bank account and see if you have $60,000 in your bank account. If you don't worry about what car prices are doing or how much the average monthly payment is. Don't worry about it because it's none of your business. Unless you're going to finance those people when they talk about the average mortgage payment, as soon as you hear the word average, that means if you're average, that means they're talking to you. If it relates to you, that means you're part of the average. You don't have to be part of the average. As soon as I hear any article talking about the average this, the average that, I know they're not talking to me because I'm not average. Now think about how many articles and videos you see on YouTube right now. Hey, they always talk about the average this, the average that. The average person saves this much in retirement. The average person has drives this many miles. That every time they're talking, if if you feel like they're talking to you, that means you are part of the average. Every time I hear it, they're not talking to me. The average car payment, of course, they're not talking to me. I know you can't buy a car with a car loan. Payments are red flags that you're not the owner because you're making payments to the owner. That's payments are red flags. When I say back to the title of the video, when I see just all these houses, listen, all these houses going up, they're talking about, hey, there's going to be a housing crash or something, right? But all you got to do is like turn off the TV, turn around, and say to yourself, then why are they building all these houses if the housing crash is coming, something's coming? What, you think they're going to be building them for nothing? You guys are going in them and you guys are going to be renting them. Obviously, you guys, that many houses being built, you guys can't, you guys have no money to buy anything. The bank is not going to give that many people permission to live in their houses. Because in order for you guys to get that house, you got to go ask the bank for permission because you have no money to buy anything. Of course, you're worried about mortgage interest rates because you're borrowing money. Man, it just makes, if you knew mortgages can't buy houses, you wouldn't care about mortgage interest rates because you'll be buying them in cash. Who cares about what the interest rate is? But that's called business. I don't care that the banks do that. That's what they do. That's how it works. I don't really care. I'm just sharing something with you. I'm not mad at it. I'm not upset that millions of people believe they have their homeowners with mortgages. I'm not mad at that. That's called business. When I drive down the street and it doesn't matter what neighborhood I'm in, the majority of houses that are there, I know that are bank owned, and they own the people inside of them. Mortgages by people, not houses. The house doesn't. If you wasn't in it, how's the bank gonna get their money? There's nobody in it. Of course. When the bank says, "Hey, well, the bank doesn't say it. I'm saying, all you go up to your dead friends and they always say, "Hey, stop giving away your money to a landlord. You're throwing away your money on rent and all this stuff." People with mortgages don't know that's rent to the bank. You guys have no money to buy the house. You go get a mortgage. Now you think you own something? That's called business. That's how that works. That's called business. I don't care if you believe you own something with a mortgage. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Listen, it doesn't matter if you're saying something mathematically untrue out loud in public. That doesn't concern. That's not my problem. If you're walking around calling yourself a homeowner, knowing that you have a mortgage, and you're telling everybody around you that you're a homeowner, that's not mathematically true. And you know what that says? That says you have a psychological problem because it's not mathematically true. That's not true. Like right now, if you believe you have equity in your house, right? Say like you believe you have like $50,000 in equity in your house right now. All you gotta do is open up the calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, and hit equal. Does the calculator say you have mortgage in your house? The calculator says you don't have equity in nothing. You don't have equity in nothing. So which do you believe? You believe you have $50,000 in equity, or you believe you have equity of nothing because you don't own a house? I'm gonna give you a hint. The calculator is never, ever, ever wrong, ever. Now, if you don't believe the calculator, you have a psychological problem. See, that's like me saying, "Hey, 1 + 1 = 3." Everybody listening to this video would come in, hear me say that, and say, "What's wrong with this dude? He's got a psychological problem because it's not 3." But when you put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and see a large negative number and still believe you're a homeowner, you think you don't have a psychological problem. See how that works? That's how it works. So when I hear that about the housing market, or whatever, they're talking about, the experts, the experts are saying, "Hey, so and so said this and the housing market's going to do that." Who said that? I don't care what they're saying. I know debt slaves own nothing. In order for those houses to get filled, all those millions of debt slaves first must go ask the bank. The bank is just going to determine by raising or lowering the interest rates, whatever. "Hey, we don't want many of you guys, so we're going to raise the rates. You guys can't have it. We're going to lower the rates and drop restrictions and all this other bullshit, and then you guys will be able to get in it." Who knows? I don't care. Whatever. I don't care what they do or how they do it. It's just business. I don't. They're the banks are not doing anything to me. Okay, whatever I ask them, they say, "Hey, bank, can I borrow 50,000?" The bank says, "Okay, yeah, but this is what's going to happen. You're going to pay this interest rate. You got to pay us this fee and that fee, and if you don't pay us on this day, we're going to do this and charge you for that. If you up and down your checking account and do this and do some somersaults, if you borrow some money on Sunday, we're going to charge you." Okay, cool. And I sign and I say yes. That means I get to do they get to do everything they was gonna do to me to get that money. I don't care what they do. I don't care what they charge. I don't care. But without you in them, they're worthless. I get it. I totally get it. What's up, QJC? Proper message LJ question. Do you feel like you are speaking against the mortgage system here in the United States? That is a very good question, QJC. And I want you to really understand, and it's really hard to let it soak in too, okay? Because I really want you guys to understand, especially in S&B family. When I speak the way I'm speaking, debt slaves cannot hear me. They have no idea what I'm saying. You guys got to really let that soak in. They have no idea what I'm saying. They think I'm crazy, or they're saying, hey, he's talking shit. If it was that easy, everybody'd be doing it. Debt slaves have a million sayings about why they're not getting financially ahead. It's always because of something, right? They're so stuck on that, they have no idea what I'm talking about. And it's not, and to make it clear, it's just like when you say against the system, right? Being against it would be just like pointless. It's like, no, that's the way it is here, and this is the way, there's rules that you follow. But when you own yourself, they- they're the same rules, but they're approached in a different way. You understand why they're there, what's the purpose of this, why is this does that, and this is what you're supposed to do, and then that's how it works. So it's not really, and it's like this is how I feel. When you own yourself, you understand you now have the ability to leave the United States if you wish. All your debts here are paid. You don't owe any business or government anything. All your debts are paid. You have the freedom to go to a country that, hey, I like their economic system. I like it this way. Okay, cool. Just go there and move there. Now that I understand that capitalism is psychological, you guys got to understand that capitalism is worldwide. Everybody has, if the main piece of capitalism is there's psychological capitalism, and all of them are the same. The majority must be in debt, not know it. That's just how it works. They might have a different government system or whatever, but as long as it's capitalist, it really doesn't matter. The majority are in debt, period. As long as you understand that, they'll have some similar type of credit system, how they keep track of, because credit reports are owner ledgers. That's how they keep track of all the debt slaves, of what they do to themselves. Their personal credit report shows if they understand the system or not. It really does. And if you don't own yourself, you don't understand how it works, because you don't own yourself. That's obvious. It really goes hand in hand. Your credit report, one look at your credit report, all I see if you own yourself or not, and then I'll look and see if you actually know you don't own yourself or not. Those are two different things. That is most definitely true. It's accountability. To get to this level, QJC, and really understand that, even though I'm saying it out loud in public, and I'm speaking English and all this stuff, it really doesn't matter, because they cannot hear me. Debt slaves cannot hear me. And that's what makes it so, I guess, amazing. I guess. I mean, it is. Not I guess. It is. Like, for example, let me give you let me give you an example, QJC. Watch this. You can't buy a house with a mortgage. I'm gonna say it one more time. You can't buy a house with a mortgage. Now, QJC, you know exactly what I mean when I say that, right? There are millions of people that have no idea what that means of what I just said. They don't. They literally do not know. Literally. Now, I accept and understand is that's how it has to be. It has to be like that. because it wouldn't work without that. I get it, totally understand, see how it works. Okay, don't do that. I mean, you understand the purpose. You truly understand the purpose of taxes once you own yourself. You're like, oh, it's the backbone of the whole thing. Yep. Oh, okay, that's why the penalties are so severe. Got it. And then once you understand how taxes truly work, you're gonna be like, oh, there's actually no reason to cheat. Nope, not at all. You gotta do is understand it. Step number one, own yourself first. That's what you have to do. That's step number one. Which again, I think is the hardest part. First, you got to know you're a debt slave. Debt slaves don't know that the debt slave psychologically. They do not know. If they did, the housing market couldn't exist because they know you cannot buy a house with a mortgage. They would know, oh, everything changes. I don't want that. I'm not I'm not born here to change anything. Oh, this is just how it works. Okay, cool. It's not good or bad. It's just you get to choose if it's good or bad for you. You actually get to choose. Once you understand capitalism is psychological, you'll see how it all works, how everything connects. Oh, this is why that. This is the purpose of that. This is the you just see how why what is what. And you get it. You totally understand it. Everything I did in the debt matrix, it was because of who? It was because of me, myself, me. I was the cause of everything. Everything financially, it was me. Now, I could grow up saying I'm older now, so I really don't think like that anymore. But for a few years, you kind of when you're a young adult, you think, oh man, my mom and my daddy should have showed me this and that, and they shoulda, coulda, woulda, this and that. Totally focused on taking the focus off yourself. You're an individual human being. It's you. You have choices just like they did. Now, the majority of people, they don't know capitalism is psychological. They don't. So 9 times out of 10, your parents didn't know capitalism was psychological. Okay, sorry about that. Hold on for a quick second. Sorry, there's a noise in the background that was irritating me, and I can't. I thought it was in the house, but it's not in the house. It's outside the house. Threw me all the way off. I forgot where I was at. All right, let me throw up the invite because I don't even be talking all this time. Yeah. Oh yes, that's fine. All right, let me put this link in there if you got some questions. Now, I know SMD has been getting out there more because of the shorts. I love it. Love the responses. Love the feedback. I love the question marks because I know when if you came to this channel because of a short, I know it's because you've never seen anybody say stuff like that. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm sharing something with you. That's all. Just sharing something with you. And again, not bragging. There is no other channel on YouTube like this one. I guarantee it. No other channel like this one. No one that understands that capitalism is psychological. I've never heard it. At least I've never heard it. Never, ever. But remember, when I say that, I can prove that mathematically. I can prove it. Just so always remember that. Everything I'm saying, I can mathematically prove. Like okay, for example, when I sometimes I will you'll see people comment, crack up because I mention the calculator all the time, right? And you'll see people joke about that. Oh, you better get the calculator, but it's like, why? I don't understand a joke about a calculator. That confuses me. And then they put laughing emojis by it. It's like, why are you laughing at a calculator? I don't get it. They make it seem it's weird how they I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, when you come across this video and you believe you're a homeowner, I want you to understand if you do, you are the housing market. Okay. If you believe you own a house with no money of your own, that makes you the housing market. You are everything. That's why debt slaves are the currency. You guys are the currency. Here, let me give you a couple of other examples. All right. Open up the calculator and put in your retirement minus your student loan debt equals you are the retirement plan. It's you. You are the retirement plan. Why? Because you can't invest in retirement while having a mortgage. You can't do that, which makes you the retirement plan. Your bank account minus your student loan debt equals you are the bank account. You. Why? Because you can't save money in a bank account while having student loan debt. You can't do that. So since you don't know that, that makes you the bank account. Your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance equals you are the mortgage. You. Why? Because you can't buy a house with a mortgage. You can't own a house with no money. That makes, since you don't know that, that makes you the mortgage. And since there's millions of you, that makes the housing market. Do you understand? That's how it works. Now, again, you don't have to choose to be part of the people that think that. All you got to do is just trust the calculator, and then you're no longer part of them. You will own a house with no mortgage. You speaking the truth, LJ? Not even Dave Ramsey speak on how mortgage industry works. No, he doesn't. Ramsey tell people to get mortgages. I understand it's business, and it is. It's just business. And you got to think about it. It's like this. Those are, as a person that understands capitalism is psychological, and thank God I found Dave Ramsey when I was coming out of debt. Don't get me wrong, okay? Without him, it probably would I would probably would have still eventually did it, but it would have took much longer time. I needed somebody direct like him, straight to the point, make you feel dumb for having debt. I know people don't like it, but it worked for me. I liked it. And then I just got to the point to where it says, "Hey, you pay off all your debt and you get down to your mortgage, and then start putting 15% away into retirement." And I said, "Whoa, wait a minute, you can't do that. Well, you can't save for retirement while having a mortgage. That equals business." And that's where I left. I said, "Okay, this is where I get off. That's all. Everything else is business. 10% to the church and this and that and blah. Hey, whatever." Because I understand that religion and math have nothing to do with each other. Absolutely nothing. Religion has nothing to do with math. Math is just math, regardless of what religion you believe in. So that's why I just left. He probably tells people to get mortgages because you got to, when you understand how it works, you got to understand the housing market could not exist without debt slaves. So of course you're going to come up with a business plan to help people get mortgages. Now, put it this way, is it still helping the people that get out of debt and get all the way down to their mortgage? Yes, because now they'll be able to pay off that mortgage faster. But unfortunately, the majority of the people will take the advice and start putting 15% away into retirement when they don't even have it. They don't have 15% of nothing to put anywhere. The only choice that they have is to pay off the mortgage. And what debt slaves don't know, especially the people that have only their mortgage left, they don't even really get it. Whatever mortgage they're paying right now, say like the mortgage is $2,000 a month. If they pay off their mortgage, that is $2,000 never again to leave their account for the rest of their life. There is no other investment that's paying that. No other investment. And when you don't have a mortgage, taxes ain't shit, no matter where you live. I promise you. If you have no debt and no mortgage, you're not going to worry about property taxes. I promise you this. I swear to God, I promise you. It won't matter if you're in Malibu, California. It won't matter. As long as you're living in Malibu with no debt, no mortgage, you won't care about the taxes in Malibu. But first, you have to realize that you cannot save for retirement while having a mortgage. You can't do that. Now, again, I understand how it works. This is how it works because if they didn't believe that, the housing market wouldn't exist and they wouldn't be able to sell all this other shit, refinancing and fix your roof and redo the house and the basement and you guys take out loans for everything. Of course you guys have to believe you own it, else you guys wouldn't do it. I get it, totally understand it. Understand the rules and why and what and whatever. You guys don't understand is equity and appreciation. Those are just words. That's not money. Equity is not money. Appreciation is not money. It takes actual money to buy a house. Since you guys don't know that, you guys think equity and appreciation is money. I get it. That's how it works. That's how it works. HELOCs, all these funny names that the bank comes up with. Hey, HELOCs and this and that, refinance and equity, and they sound fancy, I guess. Liquidate, leverage. You guys be talking all that nonsense, thinking is, hey, you got to leverage. Leverage what? You are the leverage, debt slaves. You. Without you in the house, there is no leverage. You are the leverage. You. Hey, we're gonna leverage the bank. The bank's like, whatever, debt slave. Hey, whatever big word you want to use that we made up, you guys go ahead and use it. And you guys be using it amongst yourself. Hey, you got to leverage the bank, man. Don't use OPM. Don't use you don't want to use your own money because you can invest. You guys have no money. It's you. You're the money. You're the currency. It's you. Of course, you have to borrow other people's money. You have none because you are the currency. So when you hear people talking about the housing market, talking about buying, hey, we're about to buy a house, you turn to them and say, with what? A mortgage or cash? That's what you got to say. If your friends, especially you young adults, if you got a whole bunch of friends around you talking about they're buying houses, you need to ask each one how they bought the house. Because if they believe they bought a house with a mortgage, you do not want to be getting your house buying advice from them because they believe they bought a house with a mortgage. You can't do that. That's not true. That is not mathematically true. And if all your friends thought they bought a house with a mortgage and then they turn to you who's renting and they say you're throwing away money on rent, you got to stop listening to them because they don't know what they're saying. Mortgage payments go to the owner. Owners don't make payments. That's what makes them owners. Do you understand? Owners don't have payments to anybody because they own it. Payments are red flags that you don't own it. Loans mean you don't own. You see what I'm saying? That's how it works. Owners don't have payments. That's what makes them owners. So if all your friends and your people, especially your friends at work that are buying houses at work, The majority this is what you guys, especially you young adults, you guys gotta understand, newly to the workforce. The majority of people that you go into when you first go into the workforce, those are people that have to be there. They got mortgages, car notes, divorces, alimony, child support payments, taxes, problems, behind on their taxes, fines and tickets and collections. Those are those people that could not they have to be there because they're in debt. Now, if you go there and you see these people buying houses and cars and they got the nicest cars in the car lot and they live fancy, don't they own nothing. That's why they're there. That's why they're taking the shit that they're taking because they're stuck. They have to be there. Don't take it. You don't take financial advice from people that have to have a job. They're not your friends. I promise you, they're not your friends. Those are people that are stuck at jobs just like you. Why? Because of themselves. Because you see the you see the car lot, and when you pull up in the car, you see all these fancy cars. That's why they're there because of those cars. When an employer sees a person that they just hired roll into the car lot, roll into the employee parking lot with a brand new car, guess what? They know that employee ain't going nowhere for at least a few years, at least. More new cars in the employee car lot, the better. You better believe it. Soon as you see the cars coming in, the nice cars in the car lot, next thing you know, people are begging for overtime. That's how it works. Why do you think employers run your credit now? That's how they know about you. That's how they know what they look at your credit report, they know exactly what kind of salary to offer you. If you're desperate for money, and your credit report will show if you're desperate for money, I promise you, okay? I promise you. They're not looking for your credit score, they're looking for your credit report. They're gonna see you're gonna take anything because you're probably one payment away from losing everything. Because you're gonna take what they give you. Now, if I went and applied for the same job and they ran my credit, guess what they'd see? Nothing. They would see that I own myself. I'd be talking very differently in the interview than you. I promise you that. As we're going through and they're asking all the stupid dumbass questions, then it comes down to the salary. Now, when you're in debt and you're one payment away from losing everything, you're going to accept whatever they give you, and you're not going to counter offer because they might offer the job to somebody else, and you need it. Whatever. But when you own yourself and you know your skills are good, you walk in with your salary requirements. I don't care what their scale says. Hey, you got to be here 1 year to get this and 2 years to get that, and then you move FJKGSY. No, I'd be like, I don't want to do any of that. This is my salary requirements. Why do you guys think they don't want you guys discussing salaries amongst each other? That's not a law. You don't have to not discuss your salary. Hey, you can do whatever you want. They frown upon it, whatever, but that's not a law. Don't get me wrong, I love that they do that. I love that they do that. They encourage, "Hey, don't be sharing salaries." Because if I came in and got the same position as you, especially as a computer engineer, and they started you out at 80, and then all of a sudden you found out they started me at 200, doing the exact same thing as you, you'd be pretty pissed. We'd be like, "Why did I start out at 80?" Because you're in debt and I'm not. The employer would know that I don't need the job. I'm choosing to work here. That's the difference. I'm choosing to work here. So they know, like, here, let me give you another example. They would know that we would go over the contract. Okay, you're paying me X amount of dollars for what? 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, blah, blah, blah. I say, okay, cool. All right, cool. That means they understand that they are not to call me on the weekends ever or anytime after 5 o'clock for anything. For anything. I remember, like, when I think back as a debt slave, I remember I had this particular job that said if there was a red, I'm gonna just say a red alert, everybody had to stop what they're doing and get in on this call to resolve this problem because it's a red alert. Now, back then, I didn't think it was a big deal because I what? Needed the job. I was one job away from losing everything. But as a debt-free person that don't need a job, I'd be like, wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. I would have said just like this. Wait a minute. That means you would own 24 hours of my life. That's what that would mean. You mean if I'm in my at my son's birthday party and it's fifth birthday party and I get a red alert, I have to stop that and get on this red alert call? No, I'm not doing any of that. No. This I would have been like this. You're paying me a salary to own 24 hours of my life, and this is what you think you're gonna pay me to own 24 hours of my life? You must be insane. But see, it wouldn't even get that far because they would know. I wouldn't come to the job begging for overtime. I remember I got this one job and I only kept it a month because I couldn't take it no more. But I remember when I was there for about a week, I got a email from the manager, and the manager says, "Hey, by the way, you have to be here 3 months before you start. You're eligible for overtime." I was like, "What?" I was like, "I don't want no overtime. I'm debt free at this time." I'm like, "I don't want no overtime." But I remember when you're debt free, you look at things different, totally different. So I emailed them back. I said, "No, don't worry about it. I'll never want that." Like, as a debt slave, you don't know what that means to beg for overtime. You guys have no idea what that means. I mean, you're actually just telling the employer, "Hey, I'd rather be here than at home. I'd rather be here." Moments that you can't, man, moments that you can never get back. "Oh, I'll make it up to your son, daughter." No, you can't. You can go, you got a time machine? Because whatever that moment was, it's gone forever. You know, you can't get it back. I don't care how much money you make or whatever. That's never coming back, ever. So when you have you know, you're so desperate to get in the housing market, you'll do anything to get in it. Work 60, 70 hours a week. You paying for a house that you can't you're not even living in the majority of your life because you're spending time at work. Say it like this. Say it like you know, because you guys do this all the time. Oh, it's just horrible too. You guys will include your overtime in the approval of a loan, which in turn locks you into forever overtime. It's just bananas. Lock you in there. Say like you got your loan approved based on 65 hours a week. Now that's what your payment is based on. Guess what? Now you have to work 65 hours a week every week for as long as you have the mortgage. That means you're not even going to be in the house. Oh, it's just bananas to even think about. Oh my God. All because you were worried about all the other debt slaves. Hey, man, you guys going to be priced out the market. You can't. Then you start looking on the news and see all those stupid ass fucking graphs going across screens. Those graph marks. Those are guys. That's you. That's you guys. You see all those numbers that roll fast across the screen that you think you need to understand. That's you guys scrolling across the screen. That's all you guys. That's you. When you see graphs on like finance, blah blah blah, that's you guys going up and down. That's what you guys are doing. You guys are doing stuff and then you're coming down and then you guys are going up. I don't know what you guys are doing. I mean, I do watch you guys, but I know why it's doing that. You guys think it's something else. It's you. The stock market couldn't exist without you. Stock market investment minus your mortgage balance equals You are the stock market investment. You, because you can't invest with no money. You can't invest in the stock market while you have a mortgage. You can't invest in the stock market while you have student loan debt. That makes you the stock. Now, don't feel bad because that's the majority of you. Without you, there is no stock market. Do you understand? I understand how it works. I get it, totally get it. Whatever, that's how it works. Whatever. People giving you advice, your friends, and telling you stop throwing, especially the ones that tell you stop throwing away money on rent. You got to turn to them and say, "Do you have a mortgage?" When they say yes, you got to understand that they don't understand. The banks just renamed rent to mortgage, and they somehow believe they're owners of something now. I guess because mortgage doesn't sound like rent, I guess it's different. That's what they think. That's how it must be. So when you drive down a nice neighborhood and you see all the nice houses, it doesn't matter. If they got mortgages on them, it doesn't matter the house. Just know the house and the people inside it are owned by the bank. That's all you need to know. Do you want to be like them? Do you want to be owned for 30 years without, and that's only if you don't refinance your house. How many debt slaves you think refinance their house in the time they're in the house? Three, four times? Whatever. Hey, I'm gonna finance my way out of this interest rate. Hey, I'm gonna refinance my way out of PMIs. You guys got a million of them. That's all business. It's just business. Nothing's wrong with it. Shout out to Leroy for the 9.99 super chat. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Like I always tell you guys, okay? Let me make sure you guys understand something. It's just a matter of time, okay? It's just a matter of time. One day, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, they're going to hear me. Bill Gates, they're going to hear me. They're going to know that, hey, you guys, I understand that capitalism is psychological. I understand it. It's just a matter of time. And along this journey, I kind of just give you guys, I show you, I do things that nobody else does. That's why I do this channel. I'm just like, hey, maybe I'll reach a few more if I just do things that nobody else does. Hey, I show my whole credit report, my entire credit report, and made a live about it. You guys know that nobody does that. The majority of you guys would be way too afraid to even ask the person that you guys are receiving financial advice from. Can we see your personal credit report? You guys are afraid to even see that, to even say that to somebody that you're taking financial advice from. What if you're taking financial advice from a debt slave? That's a problem. What if you're taking advice from a person that doesn't own themselves and don't even know they don't own themselves? That's a problem. And you're paying for it? That's a problem. Here, let me give you an easier way to do it. Especially if you guys are paying, say like you're paying a financial person with a nice office that likes to hang their finance degrees on the wall. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys something to say that they won't know why you're saying it. Okay, they won't know, but I'm gonna I'm gonna share it with you so you'll know if they're a debt slave or not. Okay, so you go into their office and you know they always proudly display their degrees on the wall. That's normal. That's what debt slaves do. Okay, then you go, oh, you went to college, so and so college, whatever. Name out their college. They always be proud of it. The blah blah blah, right? And you say, how long you been in business? Oh, 5 years. And then you look at the year that they graduated on the degree. See the year they graduated, and then you say, okay, that's been like 15, 20 years. Okay, cool, cool. And then you say, something like, Oh man, I sure hope Biden wipes away student loan debt. Okay, you say it just like that. Oh, I sure hope Biden just wipes away, if not some of it, all of it. That'd be nice. Now, if the person responds with, "Oh my God, I sure hope he does." Oh my God, that would be that right there. You're talking to a debt slave because they've been in business, a financial business for 5 years, but they've obviously had their student loans for 15 years. That's a problem. You can't have a financial business when you got student loans older than your financial business. You're missing a whole big piece of the puzzle, guarantee you. You say, sorry, I don't need your help. Sorry. Why? I don't want to explain it. That's how you do it. Because let me tell you something. It's absolutely, absolutely no excuse. I'm going to just tell you right now. Absolutely no excuse for a professional tax person, a professional accountant, a professional finance person that's handling your fucking money to be in student loan debt for years. Not I'm not just saying fresh out of college. I'm talking about 15, 20 years, 30 years of they have student loan debt than the children that they have pictures on their desk. You've been in business for how long? You make you say, "Hey, okay, I need you to answer this question. Why have you had your student loan this long?" No, you turn to them and say, "Out of all your stuff, is your student loan debt your oldest debt?" If they say yes, oh man, that's a big problem. That's a very big problem. What? You done broke all the laws of mathematics and you're what? You're an accountant? You think you have a mortgage? Yeah. You think you're investing in retirement while having a mortgage? Oh no, I can't take no advice from you. Because mathematics says you can't invest in retirement while having a mortgage. So where you getting your advice from? Debt slaves. Debt slaves are telling you that you can. That's debt slave. That's called slave splaining. People that tell you that you can invest while having student loan debt because the interest rate is low, those are debt slaves. Because that's not mathematically true. That's not true. They want you to be like them forever. Do you know how many debt slaves are going to die debt slaves and not know they were debt slaves the whole time? Millions. Why? Because that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. But it's all a choice. You can grow up and continue thinking that the housing market has something to do with you when you don't have no money to buy a house. If you want to keep believing that, it's totally up to you. Or do you want to be part of the people, businesses like BlackRock or whoever companies like them buying up properties? People with money, real money, people that understand that capitalism is psychological. Obviously, they know. Anyway, that's my take on it. That's my take on the housing. You guys, what like when you drive, I don't care where it's happening, gentrification, with these words, which gentrification has nothing to do with math. That just has some kind of racial it's one of those words that make you think ethnic or something, right? When it has nothing to do with math, nothing. What people don't really understand, they're just moving all the people out that've been having mortgages the whole time. Maybe they already knew. Listen, people with mortgages don't understand that they own nothing. Okay, they own nothing. So of course the banks knew who was going to be moving out. If they all they got to do is raise the taxes in the area, they already know who's leaving. People that thought they were homeowners with mortgages behind on their payments, refinanced 50,000 times. They already know you're leaving. They've been known that for years because they own everything, including you. So it has nothing to do with the color. It's just, hey, this is just the majority of people don't believe in math in this particular area, so they're leaving. So when they build all these communities, now they're building stores within the communities because you guys, eh, everything everything has changed now. The majority of you guys are going to be working from home. Okay, that's just what it is. You can clearly see that. That's the mathematical obvious. The majority of you guys will be working from home, and the stores have no way to compete with Amazon unless they build the stores within the neighborhoods. Have you noticed that housing? Now they're building neighborhoods, and stores are right in the middle of the neighborhoods, right down the street. That's the only way they're going to be able to fuck with Amazon. Put a store right next to you, and if you're always at home, where you going to order your stuff from the closest place in your neighborhood, because you know it's going to get there the fastest, no matter what it is. The majority of you guys in those houses are going to be renting. But it doesn't matter for the majority because you guys really don't care. It's more about looks. You wouldn't when you go rent a house, it's more for like, hey, when people come over, they're like, oh man, they got a nice house because that's what other debt slaves automatically assume. If you're renting a nice house, people come over, they think it's your house when it's really not. You're renting. It's all for looks anyway, so that's how it's going to work so well. I can imagine how many debt slaves are going to be priced out of their house or kicked out of the house or can't afford the mortgage anymore, and then they're going to go rent a house and then tell everybody else that they sold the house and bought this one over here. You know how many debt slaves are going to be doing that? And those companies that bought up all the houses renting to them, they don't care what you say as long as you make that rent payment on time. I ain't gonna lie, it's beautiful to watch though. It is. It is. It is a masterpiece to watch. I must admit. You see all these neighborhoods going up. Hey, you better hurry up. The high three, 400s, 500s. Oh, you better hurry up. Just like start you guys in a fucking frenzy. You guys fall for it every time. Oh my God, there's only 5 left. Those houses are going fast. Like everybody's buying. All you got to do is go through the neighborhood and say, hey, how did you buy this house? Mortgage. I bet you 99% of the people in that area, 99% of them got mortgages. Who cares? Who cares? What they believe or think or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how fast it's going. They don't have money to buy nothing. All those people in those neighborhoods all had to go to the bank and ask for permission. Hey, bank, can you buy this house for me? Of course, I'll promise you with money for the next 30 years of my life that I don't even know if I'm going to be even making that money in 30 years of my life. But you know what? I'm gonna promise it to you. Are you going to be making $2,000 a month in 30 years? I don't know, but I promised it to the bank. I don't even know what's going to happen next year. The bank doesn't care either as long as you come up with that monthly payment. As you're getting out. You getting out of what? Their property. If you can't make the mortgage payment, they kick you out. That's how it works. You can't stay there. Hmm. It's only a matter of time. I keep telling you guys, it's just a matter of time. SMD is first going to be known around the United States and then the world. That's how it's going to work. SMD counselors, SMD counselors will be one of the highest paid positions in the United States of America. I promise you that. Sure will. And then worldwide. because capitalism is worldwide. That's why. That's how. Even when I was a even when I was a debt slave, I kind of heard about the central bank, but I didn't really know what it was or what it represent. Now I do. First you see them here, and then you say, "How many are around the world?" Oh man, they're everywhere. Yes, they're everywhere. Sure is. What's up, Miss B, Miss AB? Hello, LJ. Thank you for the 1999 super chat. Thank you very much. Hello, LJ and SMD family. I'm a little busy right now, but I definitely check out the replay. Keep speaking the mathematical truth. You can't deny the calculator. I can't get enough of your motivating words. Much appreciated. Yeah, there is no stopping me. This is me. Yeah, I always keep telling the SMD family's coming. First, you got to put in the work to even get here. But then once you're here, I'm not going to be able to help everybody by myself. And then input SMD counselors. Because there is no training facility. You can't go to some place. There's no place for you to go to a training facility to understand what SMD teaches. You can't. It doesn't exist. I'm creating it. I'm creating it as we speak. It doesn't exist because I'm creating it. It's the mathematical obvious. That's what that is. It's the mathematical obvious. It's almost like seeing the future, but it's not. The future doesn't exist. That's future is just a word, right? So what it is that when you understand capitalism is psychological, you see the mathematical obvious. Okay, it's really just obvious. It's it's pretty bananas, man. It really is. It's crazy, but hey, what it is, what it is. All right, well, if there's no other questions, I guess I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Again, thank you everybody for the enjoying the shorts. I appreciate it. I actually enjoy doing the shorts. That's pretty I can as you guys notice, I can go all day long with those shorts. That just pop off the top of the dome. They just come right up and so crazy. I know I'm gonna get off, but so crazy. You know where my content comes from? Like I just found I forgot the dude's name channel, but I posted in my community area where this guy Caleb or Caleb or whatever his name is, he what he does, and long story short, okay, I'm gonna just give you the psychological capitalist perspective. What he does, he goes out and interviews debt slaves that don't understand what they're saying mathematically. Okay, and but they don't know that they're debt slaves, so they don't know what he's doing to them. And he's not doing anything to them, but it's a show. Okay, it's just a show, right? But what it is to me, it's a physical representation of if you're watching these people that he's interviewing, right, and you can relate to what that person is saying, that person in that chair is you. Okay. So if you could just listen, if you could listen, realize that you're not that person, and so you can listen to them differently, you'd be like, wait a minute, that's me, that's you. Because the majority, what you guys don't understand, the majority of the people that he interviewed, they don't know. They absolutely do not know what they're doing or what they're talking about. So they're just saying things what they've been told in the debt matrix. This is what you do. This you save here for retirement. You buy this kind of insurance. You do this. You want to have this much money at age 65 and 55. That's a program. That's just all the program that they're running. But they don't know that's a program because retirement's not an age. You can't buy a house with a mortgage. Car loans don't buy cars. You shouldn't be refinancing. You shouldn't be financing phones. You shouldn't be refinancing cars. But they think it's a good thing. It builds credit and this and that. And the majority of them believe that they can own things while having student loan debt, being the oldest debt. So when I listen to his interviews, I only can listen to him so long because I know it's just the lot of the people that he interview are never coming out of the debt matrix ever. It's clear they're never coming out ever. The majority of those people will die debt slaves, and he's interviewing pretty some young people. But What they don't really understand, those young people are just entering the debt matrix. They're starting the workforce, they're doing all this other stuff. Those are the beginning. That's why they're the target. Fresh out of college, all the way up to, I'll probably say age 40, 45, maybe. That's about the deadline. But that age group right there, you guys are the target all up in there. And again, it's beautiful to watch. I ain't gonna lie. To do what it I had to do what it takes to understand that capitalism is psychological, and the only way I could do that was free myself. That's the only way I could do it. And to have earned the ability to see and understand that is a gift within itself. To know that everything I'm saying is mathematically correct. That's the crazy. It's just anything outside of that is just feelings, which are irrelevant. It's a gift within itself, but to earn this gift, you have to understand how it works legally. You have to do everything legally. That's what you have to do. That's the only way it can work. You have to do it legally. All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys for joining. And those of you guys that missed it, catch the replay. And again, I appreciate all the views and the likes of the shorts, and do the same for this video. All right, later.